The night felt wrong from the very first second. A cold, metallic silence sat over the ocean like something alive, something watching. Radar towers blinked red in the dark. The waves punched the steel hulls of ships like angry fists, and deep inside the underground bunker, every operator felt the same thing. Something big was coming. Bigger than anything they'd ever seen. But nobody knew from where. Or when. Only that it was close. A single alarm light, small red, almost embarrassed, began to flash inside Section 0, the United States' most classified intelligence room. The guys inside called it the Vault, but outsiders had a better name for it. The room where America's luck ran out. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like dying insects. Typewriters clicked, paper rolled, cryptographers cursed under their breath. And every officer in the room had the same stressed-out look, eyes tired, shoulders heavy. Coffee cold. They had been trying to crack a signal for 16 days straight. 16 days of nothing but numbers that led nowhere, meant nothing, repeated nothing. It was like trying to chase the shadow of a ghost through a storm. And then, a new message came in, short, encrypted, aggressive. The kind of message that made even the veteran code breakers sit up, straighten their backs, and mutter, "What the hell?" under their breath. But tonight, something was different, because standing in the corner, leaning against a stack of classified files like she had every right to be there, was her. A girl who wasn't even supposed to be in the room. Alara Quinn, 22, civilian, technically. Just a data transcriber, barely even cleared for half. The stuff she touched dot, but everyone in the in the Vault knew something unspoken. Alara wasn't normal. She had this weird, sharp, scary kind of attention to detail, like she could see patterns in things nobody else could. Sometimes she'd correct senior analysts without even looking up from her typewriter. Sometimes she'd catch mistakes in sequences that had already been checked by 3 experts. And sometimes, like tonight, she stood completely still. Eyes narrowed, like she was listening to something nobody else could hear. The message wasn't long. Just a cluster of numbers. And yet, it felt heavy. Like it carried the weight of a coming disaster. Same structure, one lieutenant muttered. No progress, someone else said. Useless as the last 30, another sighed. But Alara wasn't sighing. She wasn't even breathing. She stepped forward, slow, cautious. Like she was walking toward a wild animal that might attack if she moved wrong. "Play it again," she said. Her voice was calm but sharp enough to cut the room in half. The senior cryptographer, Commander Rourke, raised a brow. "You heard the girl," he said. "Run it." The machine clicked, printed, and fed the message again. The same numbers. Same order. Same impossible pattern. Except tonight, Alara saw something. Something tiny. Something stupid. Something everybody else missed because they were too busy trying to think like machines instead of humans. A repetition. One nobody should have made. One no trained enemy operator would ever slip up on. "Stop," Alara whispered. The room froze. "Run the message." Backward. A couple operators exchanged confused looks. Backward? Why? "That makes..." "Just do it," Rourke ordered. The machine reversed the sequence, printing the numbers in reverse, and suddenly, something clicked. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just a small crack like the first split in a massive, ancient wall. But that tiny crack meant one thing. Their enemy had made a mistake. A real one. A once-in-a-lifetime one. Alara's pulse hammered. Her throat went dry. Her fingers shook, not out of fear, but because she knew exactly what she'd just seen. A door. A door nobody else had noticed. A door that, if opened, could expose the entire enemy operation, and it was only the beginning. "Alara," Commander Rourke said slowly, "what did you just find?" She looked up at him, eyes bright, voice steady. "A crack in their armor," she said. "And if I'm right, something's coming. Something big. Something they don't want us to see." The bunker fell silent. Machines hummed. Lights flickered. The ocean above them growled. And somewhere inside the reversed message, hidden between mistakes and numbers and human error, was the first key to a disaster that had already begun. Alara didn't know it yet. Nobody did. But this tiny discovery, this single misstep by the enemy, it was about to drag her into a 10-part war of shadows, lies, blood, betrayal, and truths buried so deep that even history wouldn't believe them. And in the end, someone was going to die for it. The vault didn't breathe for a full 10 seconds. Everyone stared at the reversed sequence like it was a bomb with a timer already running. The room that usually buzzed with chatter, typewriters, radio clicks, and caffeine-powered arguments had gone dead silent, like the entire bunker was holding its breath, waiting for something to explode. Commander Rourke stepped closer to the printout. He wasn't a man who got impressed easily. 20 years in intelligence had carved caution into his bones, but right now his jaw had tightened, and his eyes sharpened. "Alara," he said, voice low, "explain." She didn't sit. She didn't blink. She didn't try to soften the blow. She pointed at a cluster of digits on the reversed sheet. "This," she said, "shouldn't exist." Rourke frowned. "Why not?" "Because trained enemy operators don't repeat keys. Not like this. Not in this sequence. This is human error. A slip." She tapped the numbers again. "And slips are openings." A wave of realization washed over the analysts. Not relief, no, nothing that soft. More like a cold shock. Because if Alara was right, then the enemy wasn't invincible. A small, stunned laugh broke from one of the junior cryptographers. "No way. No freaking way. Did they actually screw up on a priority transmission?" Alara didn't smile. "Either someone screwed up," she paused, swallowing, "or someone on their side wants us to see this." The room went colder. Rourke's head snapped up. "That's a hell of an accusation, Quinn." "It's not an accusation," she said. "It's a possibility. One we can't ignore." Before anyone could respond, the main comm panel beeped sharp, loud, urgent. A fresh encrypted burst poured in, faster than before. The machine printed the new data with jittery clacks, as if even the hardware was nervous. "Another one?" Rourke muttered. "At this hour?" An officer added. "Since when did they double-tap transmissions?" "They don't, ever." The room felt like it was shrinking. Alara stepped forward again. Her heartbeat rattled inside her chest, but her face stayed calm. This part of her, the analytical hunter, took over entirely. She scanned the new printout, and then her blood ran cold. "Sir," she said quietly, "they used the same operator signature." Rourke blinked. "That's impossible." "Exactly," she whispered. A ripple of fear washed through Section 0, because now it wasn't just a mistake. It wasn't a coincidence. It was intentional. Someone out there on the enemy side was sending them something. Something urgent. Something dangerous. Alara leaned closer to the paper. Lines of numbers blurred into patterns, heartbeat rhythms only she seemed tuned to. Her fingers hovered over the printout like she was touching something alive. "There's a pattern inside the pattern," she murmured. "What kind?" Rourke asked. "A breadcrumb trail." She exhaled slowly. "And they want us to follow it." Rourke's face hardened. "Team, prep a clean board. Quinn, walk us through it." The analyst jumped into motion, scrubbing whiteboards, slapping magnets into place, flipping markers open. Alara stepped into the center like a storm walking into a room. This repeated key sequence here, look at the numbers after it. They adjust. just slightly, like someone nudged the encryption intentionally. You're saying this is a hidden message? In a hidden message, she said. A double-blind signal. Someone cursed softly. Who the hell does that? That's suicide level risky. Ilara's eyes narrowed. Someone terrified. Someone trying to warn us. The room tightened. Everyone leaned in, so? What are they warning us about? Rourke asked. Ilara's answer came slow. Heavy. A strike, she said. Something massive. Something they know is set in motion. And if I'm reading this right, she grabbed the second sheet, held it up to the light, and lined it over the first. The numbers overlapped perfectly, impossibly. A hidden map. A direction. A countdown. Her voice dropped to a whisper. We're running out of time. Before anyone could react, the bunker lights flickered once, twice, and cut into emergency dim. A hum traveled through the concrete floor. A vibration. Deep, mechanical, wrong. Rourke whipped toward the ceiling. Power loss? At midnight? What happened to the generators? A technician answered from the panel. Sir, it's not internal. It's external. That mean what I think it means? Yes, sir. The tech swallowed. Someone just jammed our satellite uplink. Jammed. Which meant someone was watching them. Which meant someone knew. Ilara's heart clenched. Not fear, not panic. Just one brutal fact. They weren't decoding the enemy. The enemy was baiting them. Rourke turned to her slowly. Quinn, what exactly did you just open? She didn't answer. She COULDN single quotes T. because for the first time since stepping foot in the vault, Ilara Quinn felt something she had never felt before. Dread, not of the message, not of the coming strike, but of the realization that she had just stepped into a game far bigger than she understood. And the worst part? Someone out there, someone dangerous, someone brilliant, already knew her name. The bunker's emergency lights washed everything in a red glow, the kind of color that made every face look like it belonged in a crime scene photo. Papers fluttered across desks from the ventilation shift, machines hummed unevenly, and every officer in Section 0 was talking. But no one was actually saying anything useful, because nobody understood what was happening. Nobody except Elara. She stood frozen in the center of the room, staring at the reverse sequences like they were staring back at her. Something about them felt wrong, not mathematically, not technically, but personally, like someone made them for her. Rourke slammed his fist on the metal table. Enough! Everybody shut it down. Listen up. Voices died instantly. He pointed at the console team. Confirm the uplink jam. Is it targeted or full spectrum? A technician swallowed hard. Targeted, sir. Pinpointed. Just us. Another tech added, Sir. Whoever jammed it knew our exact relay frequency. That's classified to the highest. We get it, Rourke snapped. We're being watched. The words laid over the room like ice. Ilara forced herself to breathe. Slow. Controlled. But her mind wasn't listening. Images flashed. Sensations collided. Memories of little things that hadn't made sense before tonight. The delayed transmissions. The repeating signatures. The faint static buried under the last message. The subtle shift in the numbers that only a human hand would make. She didn't know why, but the pattern felt familiar. Rourke stepped close to her. Quinn, whatever this is, start talking. Her throat tightened. I think. She hesitated. This isn't just a message. It's a signal directed to a specific type of mind. Rourke narrowed his eyes. And what type would that be? She looked down at her own hand, slender, ink-smudged, trembling just slightly. A decoder who thinks sideways, she said quietly. Someone who doesn't follow procedure. Someone who notices the dust, not the footprints. Rourke exhaled through his nose. You're telling me the enemy knows how your brain works? Ilara didn't want to answer that. Not out loud. Not yet. Across the room, the main radio operator suddenly stiffened. Sir, I'm picking something up. Something faint. Rourke spun. What channel? Not a channel. It's bleeding through the jam. Everyone clustered around as the operator adjusted knobs with shaking fingers. Static filled the room, harsh, violent, uneven dot, then something punched through it. A voice. Distorted. Drowned in static. But definitely a human voice. Ver. Sing code. Stop. The room went still. Ilara's heart slammed against her ribs. The operator turned up the volume. The voice came again, broken but desperate. Stop reading. You're being traced. Rourke's face drained of color. Is that someone warning us? Before anyone could answer, the voice strengthened for just a single second, breaking through the interference like a drowning man gasping for air. Ilara Quinn stopped decoding. They see you. Every muscle in her body locked out her name. Her actual name. Not the typist. Not the civilian. Not Quinn. But Ilara Quinn. Commander Rourke's head snapped toward her so fast she heard his neck crack. How the hell did they know your full name? Ilara didn't know what to say because she didn't have an answer. Or maybe she did, and she just didn't want it to be true. The room erupted. Shouts, panic, demands, questions, but none of it mattered. Because the static abruptly cut out clean. Surgical. And then the red emergency lights flickered, once, twice, and died completely. Darkness swallowed the vault. Someone cursed. Someone else knocked over a chair. A flashlight clicked on, casting a shaky beam across the ceiling. Ilara. Stay with me, Rourke called out. I'm here, she said. Though her voice had turned thin. The emergency generator whined like a waking monster, then flickered the lights back on in a sickly yellow glow, but something was wrong. Every machine in the room was still running. Every console was still lit. Every system was still powered. Only one thing was dead. The decoding station Ilara had been using, completely fried. Black screen. Smoke curling from the edges. A direct hit. Rourke hissed through his teeth. They just burned your terminal remotely. That's not possible, an analyst whispered. It is, Rourke said. If someone on the outside has our encryption architecture. A trembling officer added, but how would they know which terminal she was using? Ilara swallowed, then forced the words out, because whoever's sending these messages isn't trying to contact Section 0. She lifted the burned edge of the printout with a trembling hand. They're trying to contact me. For a moment, she could have heard a pin drop. Then another alarm shrieked, this one deeper, angrier, more urgent than before. Unauthorized signal burst detected, the system announced in a cold, mechanical voice. Rourke's blood ran cold. Where? The technician checked the readings. His face turned white. Inside the building, sir. What do you mean inside? It's pinging from, the tech's voice cracked. From the lower access tunnel. Rourke grabbed his radio. Lock the bunker, now. Steel shutters slammed down. Bolts hammered into place. The entire facility sealed like a coffin. He turned to Ilara. Whoever they are, he said, voice tight, they're not trying to warn you anymore. Ilara's chest tightened. What are they trying to do? Rourke looked toward the elevator shaft at the back of the room. They're coming to get you. You could have heard a heartbeat drop in that moment. The entire bunker felt like it tilted, like gravity had shifted, and every single person inside Section 0 suddenly understood one thing. This wasn't about the code anymore. This wasn't about intelligence. This was personal. Rourke's eyes snapped to the sealed elevator shaft at the far end of the vault, a dull metal door, reinforced with enough steel to hold off a small explosion. Yet somehow it felt thin tonight, paper thin, like something on the other side could push once and tear straight through. Team positions. Rourke barked. Operators scrambled behind consoles, drew sidearms from emergency lockers, flipped safeties off with trembling fingers. The vault wasn't a combat zone. Nobody here was trained for a ground breach, but fear gave them speed they didn't normally have. The intercom crackled to life. Ping dash ping dash ping. A soft chime. Almost polite. Someone just called our access panel, a technician whispered. Rourke's face hardened. Ignore it. Bunker stays locked. But the chime came again. Ping ping ping. Slow. Mocking. Like whoever was outside was tapping a finger on the panel. Amused, Ilara stood perfectly still, her back pressed against the cold metal of the decoding station's ruined frame. Her mind raced through possibilities, through patterns, through the sequences she had seen earlier. This doesn't make sense, she whispered. If they wanted to kill us, they'd hit the bunker directly. If they wanted to spy, they wouldn't expose themselves. If they wanted to sabotage, Rourke cut her off. Ilara, focus. They're here for you. Her stomach tightened. But why me? Rourke opened his mouth, maybe to reassure her, maybe to lie, but the lights flickered again before he could speak. The fluorescent stuttered, dimmed, then glowed brighter than before, washing the room in a sickly pale light. Multiple screens across the vault blinked. Static rolled. Text flashed. Systems rebooted even though nobody touched them. The main display suddenly filled with a swirl of characters, hundreds of tiny symbols dancing across the glass like insects scattering in. FIRELIGHT. Then they froze, arranged. Themselves formed words no one wanted to see. Hello, Ilara, someone gasped. Someone else backed away so quickly they tripped over a chair. Rourke's voice was barely controlled. Shut that screen down. I can't. The operator stuttered. It's overriding manual control. The message shifted. Stop running the clock. You aren't ready for the answers. Ilara's skin crawled. Whoever this was. They weren't just intercepting transmissions. They were inside Section 0, inside the system, inside her work. Rourke leaned in toward her. Ilara, what did you uncover? She shook her head helplessly. I don't know. I just followed the pattern. That's exactly what they wanted, Rourke muttered. Before she could respond, the elevator shaft boomed. A heavy, metallic thud rattled the entire room. Everyone froze. Another thud, louder. The sound of something massive striking steel. Then a long scrape. Like metal dragging against metal. Someone outside was forcing the doors. Rourke's voice cracked like a whip. Security team, front line. Quinn behind me now. Ilara didn't move. Her eyes were locked on the main screen, where the text continued to change as if the intruder was typing directly into the heart of the vault. We warned you. You didn't listen. Rourke grabbed her arm. Ilara, move. But the elevator door thundered again, a monstrous sound, bending steel. The vault shook. Ilara's pulse pounded in her ears. Something in her brain flashed a memory, a pattern, a detail she had ignored earlier because she thought it was coincidence. The reversed messages, the overlapping sequences, the operator signature. They weren't warnings. They weren't mistakes. They were coordinates. Not for a location. For a person. Ilara, she whispered to herself, realization crashing over her like icy water. They weren't trying to reach the team. They were tracing me. Rourke didn't hear her. He was staring at the elevator door, weapon raised, fear carving hard lines into his face. Small dent appeared in the steel dot, then another. Then the metal bent inward like it was soft clay. Someone or something was forcing it open. The alarm screamed. The emergency lights strobed red. The bunker ceiling bolts locked again, too late to matter. Rourke shouted over the chaos. Everyone stand ready. The steel door split. A hand slipped through the gap. Not reaching. Just resting. Calm, controlled. Like the person already knew. They'd won. Ilara's blood ran cold. The hand tapped the metal twice. Tap. Tap. The same rhythm she'd seen hidden in the decoded sequence. Oh my God, she breathed. It's them. The ones sending the messages. Rourke's heart stopped. You're telling me the infiltrator is the same operator who warned us? Ilara shook her head slowly. No, not warned us. Tested us. The metal groaned violently. The door ripped open. A figure stepped through the smoke, silhouetted, tall, masked, wearing no insignia, no uniform. Nothing traceable. Just a presence that felt impossibly controlled. They spoke with a voice altered beyond recognition, not loud, not threatening, just steady. Ilara Quinn, the figure said, you're coming with me. The vault froze like the air itself had been flash frozen. The figure stood just inside the shattered elevator frame, smoke curling around their boots, sparks hissing from torn cables overhead. They didn't rush, didn't threaten, didn't even raise a weapon. They just stood there, centered in the wreckage like they owned the place. Voice steady and direct. Ilara Quinn, you're coming with me. Rourke stepped forward so fast he nearly shoved Ilara behind him. Not a chance, he barked. Identify yourself now. The masked intruder tilted their head just a fraction. Not annoyed, not intimidated, just observing. Then they spoke again. Identification is irrelevant. Your clearance levels do not reach the floor I operate on. Floor, not rank, not command. Floor. A chill crept down Ilara's spine. This person didn't talk like an enemy soldier, or a spy, or a defector. They spoke like someone who wasn't even supposed to exist. Rourke leveled his gun. You step 1 inch closer and you'll shoot? The figure interrupted calmly. Section 0 protocols prohibit firing inside the vault without cross-confirmation from upper command. But go ahead, Commander. Pull the trigger. Rourke hesitated, and the figure knew it. Exactly. The elevator lights flickered behind the intruder, blown out, dead. Nothing but darkness where the shaft used to be. Ilara's heart hammered. Her throat felt tight. Everything inside her screamed to move, but her legs felt locked to the floor. Why me? She finally managed to say that the figure's mask turned toward her fully. Because you solved the opening move. Ilara blinked, confused. What opening move? The first piece, the figure said. The first pattern. The first permission. You weren't supposed to see it this early. Rourke swore under his breath. What the hell is that supposed to mean? The intruder ignored him. Ilara, you have been engaging with a sequence you do not understand. You think you've been decoding intelligence. You haven't. They stepped closer, boots echoing lightly on the metal floor. You've been playing a game. The words hit her like a slap. A game? She whispered. Yes, the figure said. And you're playing it on the wrong board. Rourke yelled, enough of this cryptic crap. Who sent you? The figure turned toward him, voice dropping cold. The same people who built this bunker. That shut everyone up. The tension was suffocating. Every operator, every analyst. Even Rourke was staring like they'd just heard something physically impossible. The intruder continued. You were all told this facility was top secret. Experimental, off books. A pause. That was a lie. Screens around the vault flickered again, glitching with foreign patterns, fractals, symbols, sequences nobody recognized. Ilara felt her stomach twist. What are those? Pieces of a larger structure, the figure said. And you've accessed 2 of them already, unintentionally. Rourke stepped forward again. So explain why you're here. Why come through the damn elevator like a ghost and scare the life out of my entire team? The figure didn't even blink, because Ilara Quinn is the only person in this room whose brain is wired to see the next piece. Ilara's voice cracked. I didn't ask for that. No one ever does, the figure said softly. But the moment you reversed the sequence, you made contact. Contact. Not discovery. Not infiltration. Contact. Elara felt something cold slide into her lungs. You mean you were waiting for someone to reverse it? Yes, the figure said. And you were the first to do it without breaking the pattern. Rourke snapped. We are done talking. Security is 5 minutes out. If you think, the figure tapped something small on their wrist. A quiet chime echoed through the vault. As HHHK every COMM device in the room died at once. Headsets, radios, panels, even the emergency lines. Dead, silent, offline. The intruder spoke softly. No one is coming, Commander. Rourke tightened his grip on the gun. You're underestimating me. The masked figure tilted their head again. No, Commander. I'm simply aware of the parameters of your cage. Ilara felt her breath catch. These weren't threats. These weren't taunts. This person was telling the truth. She stepped forward before she could stop herself. Why? Why me? She asked again, voice shaking now. What am I supposed to do? The figure lifted a hand, not aggressively, not even reaching toward her, but showing something, a small device, black, smooth, no buttons. Just a single glowing point of light at its center. The figure spoke. This is the next key. They paused. And Ilara, you're the only one here who can survive using it. Ilara felt the room spin. Rourke shouted, Don't go near that thing. But Ilara couldn't move even if she wanted to. The figure took one step closer, just one, and the room seemed to shrink around them. I'm giving you one chance, they said. Come with me willingly. Rourke moved, ready to fire, but the intruder didn't even look at him. Instead, they said one line that cut straight through the vault's air like a blade. If you stay here, every person in this bunker will die because of you. Ilara's breath caught. Her pulse stuttered. Rourke froze. The entire team froze. The figure extended their hand calmly, waiting. Ilara Quinn. Choose. Ilara didn't breathe. Couldn't breathe. The vault felt smaller than a coffin now, every wall pressing in, every alarm. Every dead screen screaming the same truth. She had just been pushed into a decision no one in this room could make for her. The masked intruder still stood with their hand, extended steady, patient, terrifyingly calm. No threat in their posture. No fear either. Just inevitability. Rourke finally snapped out of his paralysis. Ilara, don't. His voice cracked, but he forced it steady. You're not going anywhere with them. That is an order. The figure didn't even turn toward him. They just said, you can't order a mind like hers. You can only hope she chooses the lesser disaster. Rourke stepped in front of Ilara like a human shield. You lay one finger on her and what? And what? The figure interrupted. You'll shoot? You'll risk a crossfire inside a sealed government bunker? You'll gamble 30 lives because your pride can't handle not being in control? The calmness in that voice was worse than anger. Worse than violence. It was final. Rourke clenched his jaw so hard his teeth clicked. You still haven't answered the question, why her? Why not me? Why not any of the trained analysts? The masked intruder tilted their head. Because none of you saw the break in Pattern Zero. Pattern Zero? Rourke repeated. There is, the figure said softly. And she saw it. Alara felt something inside her twist fear mixing with recognition. I didn't see anything, she whispered. I just reversed the sequence. And that, the figure said, is the sight most humans never develop. Alara shook her head. No, I'm not special. I'm not some genius. I'm just, the masked intruder cut her off gently. You're not special, Alara. You're compatible. The word hit like a punch. Compatible? With what? Rourke raised his weapon again. That's enough. Step back. The figure finally turned toward him. Commander, if I wanted to harm her or any of you, I would have done so 8 minutes ago when I breached your elevator shaft. A cold realization rippled through the room. They were right. They could have killed everyone already. Easily. So then, what do you want from me? Alara whispered. Her voice sounded small, almost fragile. The figure held the small black device up. The tiny point of light pulsed gently like a heartbeat. This is an initializer unit, the figure explained. A key to a structure beneath the surface of your code. Alara blinked. I don't understand. You're not supposed to yet. The figure stepped closer. But your brain already recognizes pieces of it. That's why they noticed you. They? Rourke barked. Who the hell is they? The figure ignored him completely. Alara, the people behind these messages. The ones tracing you. The ones watching from the outer network. They've been waiting for someone with your cognitive signature to open the next pattern. Alara's voice trembled. I never volunteered for this. No one volunteers, the figure said. They're chosen by the structure itself. Rourke snapped. She's not going anywhere. If you want to fight, the masked intruder didn't even turn. There is no fight. Only consequence. Alara looked around the vault. The operators were terrified. Screens were dead. The bunker was isolated. And the masked figure had neutralized everything like they were turning off light switches. She swallowed, forcing the words out. If I refuse, she asked quietly, what happens? The figure lowered the device slightly, not threatening, but honest. If you refuse, the pattern will continue pulling signals toward you. And? Alara whispered, and when it reaches critical mass, their voice softened. This bunker will collapse with everyone in it. The room went completely silent. Rourke's face went pale. You're bluffing. No, the figure said. I am telling you the outcome the calculations show. Alara felt the ground sway beneath her. You're saying, if I stay here, they die because of me. Yes, the figure said. No matter what you choose, Alara, the pattern will always follow you. Rourke shook his head violently. No way. She's not responsible for any of this. But Alara had already stopped hearing him, because her mind was replaying everything, the repeated signature, the distorted voice saying her name, the targeted jam, the burned-out terminal, the intruder in the elevator, the reversed sequence. It wasn't coincidence. It never was. She looked up. What happens if I go with you? The figure didn't hesitate. You live. They live. And you learn what the pattern really is. Her heart raced. Her throat felt tight. And if the pattern is something I can't handle? The figure answered without emotion. Then you will die very far from here. And the pattern will choose someone else. Rourke stepped forward, voice cracking. Alara, don't listen to them. You're being manipulated. But Alara wasn't looking at him. She was staring at the device. The pulsing light. That soft, rhythmic throb that felt like it matched her own heartbeat. The figure extended their hand again. Alara Quinn. What do you choose? Time stretched. The bunker held its breath. The team watched with wide, terrified eyes. Alara closed hers. Just for a second. And when she opened them, she stepped forward, one step, toward the intruder. Rourke choked out, Alara, no? But she didn't stop, because deep down, beneath the fear, beneath the panic, she knew something terrifying. The pattern wasn't following the bunker. It was following her. The moment Alara stepped forward, the vault felt like it caved in on itself. The operators sucked in a collective breath. Rourke actually staggered back like he'd been punched in the chest. Even the masked figure straightened slightly, as if the choice she'd made carried more weight than she understood. Alara wasn't running. She wasn't panicking. She wasn't trembling. She was walking, slow, controlled, terrified, but with her fear locked. Behind something sharper, acceptance. The figure lowered their extended hand an inch. Almost respectfully, Rourke moved like he was about to physically grab her. Alara. Stop. She didn't. Don't do this. He shouted, voice breaking. She finally turned her head toward him, just a fraction. Rourke. If I stay, they die anyway. That's not true. You know it is. The silence that followed was brutal. Because he did know. Every operator in the bunker knew something was hunting her, not them. And as long as she stayed inside Section 0, whatever force was behind those transmissions would tear through every wall to reach her. The masked figure took one small step forward, closing the distance between them. Alara Quinn, they said quietly, you have chosen movement over collapse. That is the correct initial response. Initial, not final. Rourke growled under his breath. Don't talk like she's some piece in your damn game. The figure turned their masked face toward him with chilling calm. You should understand something, Commander Rourke. A quiet pause. She was in the game long before I arrived. Alara swallowed hard. What does that mean? It means, the intruder said, that the moment you reversed the sequence, you stepped into the higher structure. Alara blinked. The higher structure? But the figure didn't explain. Instead, they raised the small device again, the black one with the pulsing point of light. The pulse quickened. Air changed. The vault suddenly felt charged like the static that comes before a lightning strike. Rourke reacted instantly. He didn't think, didn't hesitate. He lunged. Alara, move. He reached for her arm, and in the exact same instant, the masked figure flicked their wrist. Pulse of low-frequency sound blasted through the room. Not loud, not violent, but powerful. Like gravity itself had hiccuped. Rourke was thrown back 3 steps, boots skidding across the metal floor. He slammed into a console with a grunt, weapon clattering out of his hand. Operators scrambled, chairs toppled. Papers flew. Alara stumbled, but the figure caught her wrist gently before she could fall. Her pulse roared in her ears. Her knees trembled. What was that? A stabilization wave, the figure answered calmly. To protect you. Your neurofield reacts violently to pressure. My. What? But the intruder didn't elaborate. Instead, they lowered their voice. Alara, listen to me carefully. We don't have much time. Her breath shook. Time for what? For the next extraction phase. Before she could ask, the vault lights dimmed, not flickering, not failing, just fading, like the room itself was holding its breath again. The main screen flashed. Symbols appeared, faster than human perception. A cascade of fractal-coded patterns. The operators couldn't decipher even if they tried. One of the analysts whispered, "My God, it's like the system's writing back." Rourke shoved himself to his feet, stumbling but furious. You, whatever you are, you're not taking her. The masked figure didn't turn around. You cannot stop a pattern with a handgun. Commander, Rourke spat back. Try me. The intruder responded without anger. I admire your loyalty. But your reality is already collapsing under an algorithm you can't even see. That line made Alara's blood run cold. My reality? she whispered. The masked figure finally turned back to her. Elara, you haven't noticed the shifts yet because your cognition hasn't been pushed far enough. But the moment you touched the reverse sequence, the pattern locked onto your neurological imprint. A code locked onto my brain? She said faintly. No, the intruder said softly. Something older than code. Her stomach twisted. What does that mean? You'll see, they said. But not here. The vault shuddered, an earthquake-like tremor that rattled the metal flooring. Alarms blared again. Screens flickered. An operator shouted, "Sir, the hard seals are failing. The bunker is unlocking itself." Rourke's face drained of color. The hell it is override. It's not responding. None of the systems are. Rourke grabbed a headset. Dead. He grabbed the wall phone. Dead. He slammed his fist into the panel. Nothing. The intruder spoke calmly. They're pulling the bunker open to reach Elara. Elara felt pressure building in her skull, like her brain was being squeezed from the inside. She grabbed the edge of a console, gasping, "What's happening to me?" The masked figure stepped closer, voice steady. "Your neural pathways are syncing with the next pattern sequence. If we don't leave now, the extraction signal will overload your cortex." My cortex. You could die, they clarified. Elara's vision blurred. The vault warped. The lights bent. The floor hummed under her boots like a pulse. She forced the words out, "Rourke." Rourke stumbled toward her, face tight with fear he couldn't hide. "Elara, listen to me. You don't have to go. We can fight this. We can shut it down." "We can't," she whispered. "You saw it. It's coming for me." "Not you. Elara, please." But the masked figure tapped the device again. A faint hum surrounded the two of them, Elara and the intruder, distorting the air, forming a shimmering veil that separated them from the collapsing bunker. Rourke slammed his hands against it like glass. Like force, like a wall he couldn't break. "Elara, don't go. We can fix this." Tears burned in her eyes. "I'm sorry, Rourke." "Elara." His voice broke, literally cracked. The masked figure placed a hand on her shoulder. "It's time." The vault shook violently, steel groaning. Seals hissing, systems failing. "Elara Quinn," the intruder said quietly. "Step through." She closed her eyes. And stepped. The hum intensified. The floor dissolved beneath her. The vault vanished into darkness. Rourke's voice, desperate, broken, echoed behind her. "Don't take her." Then silence. Elara didn't scream. She should have, anyone would have, but the moment she stepped through that shimmering veil, her voice vanished like the air had been stolen from her throat. There was no sound, no gravity, no direction, just falling sideways through darkness so thick it felt alive. The world behind her, the vault, the alarms, Rourke shouting her name, collapsed into a single point of white light. And then even that blinked out, leaving only the in-between, a place that wasn't a place, a void that wasn't empty, a silence that felt like it was listening. Her heartbeat was the only thing she could hear, loud, violent, panicked, bouncing around the darkness like it was trapped in a giant hollow skull. Then a flicker, not light, not sound, a presence. Something brushing against her thoughts like cold fingertips. She gasped, trying to twist her body. But she had no body, just the sensation of falling without moving. Her voice shook out in a whisper, "Where am I?" The answer wasn't a voice. It was pressure. A wave pushing against her mind. Not painful. Not violent. Just aware. As if something enormous had just turned its gaze toward her. She flinched, instinctively pulling her thoughts tight, like someone clenching their fists in the dark. Another flicker. A pulse this time. Dull and low, like the heartbeat of a creature sleeping under miles of earth. The masked figure's voice suddenly echoed from nowhere, not directional. not physical, like it was being broadcast directly into her skull. Ilara, do not fight the transition. Where are you? She shouted. You are between layers, the figure responded calmly. The space between cognition and structure. That means nothing to me. She snapped. Where's the vault, Rourke? What did I just step into? The darkness rippled, almost like it reacted to the name. The masked figure's tone sharpened. Ilara, listen carefully. You must keep your mind stable. If your thoughts scatter too far, the darkness pulsed. A warning. What happens if they scatter? She whispered. Silence. Then. You will not find your way back. Her breath stuttered. What do I do? Anchor, the figure said. Hold on to a single thought. A memory. A shape. Anything that belongs only to you. Ilara squeezed her eyes shut, even though she had no eyelids here, and tried to picture something solid. A door. A room. A hand. Rourke shouting her name. The darkness recoiled, just slightly, as if even the memory of him disrupted the void. Ilara, the masked figure warned, do not anchor to anyone. Not him, not your team. Someone else could use that. Use it how? Again, no answer. Only silence so thick it felt like it pressed into her ears. She swallowed, forcing her thoughts inward. Anchor. Anchor to something else. Her father's watch. The scar on her wrist from when she fell off a bike at 9. The taste of rain when she ran home from school. Small things. Human things. Real things. The darkness loosened. Just enough for her to breathe, she whispered. I'm anchored. Good, the figure replied. Suddenly the darkness surged. A tidal wave of pressure hitting her mind. She doubled over if she had a body. Clutching her head instinctively. What is that? The pattern, the figure said. It senses you now. Her heart thrashed. I don't want it to sense me. It already does. A bright crack of white split the void, a blinding tear, ripping through the darkness like lightning frozen in place. Inside the tear, she saw something not physical, not normal, a network. A living web of codes and symbols twisting like DNA strands made of light. Ilara. Step through the rift, the masked figure said calmly. I'm not stepping into anything until you tell me what's happening. The tear widened, light spilling out, warm, cold, alive. Ilara Quinn, the figure said, voice low and steady. You have already opened the sequence. You are connected whether you accept it or not. Her pulse hammered. The substrate is waiting for you. What? But the figure didn't repeat themselves. Instead, they whispered, do not fear what sees you. Fear what you refuse to see. The rift exploded outward. The light swallowed her. She screamed. Her body reformed. Gravity slammed back. Air filled her lungs and she fell hard onto cold metallic ground. Not the vault, not earth. A long, dimly lit corridor humming with a pulse she could feel in her teeth. She pushed herself upright, trembling. Where am I? The masked figure materialized beside her like mist turning into shape. Ilara, they said. This is the threshold. She staggered to her feet. This is where your real path begins. The corridor trembled. A distant rumble echoing like something massive shifting in the deep. Ilara looked back at the rift behind her. But it sealed shut instantly. Gone. No going back, she whispered. What's waiting for me on the other side? The masked figure turned. Their voice was soft, almost human. The truth. And the thing that has been calling your name. Ilara swallowed hard. Ilara didn't fall. Not exactly. It was more like the world folded around her, bending, peeling, reshaping until the vault, the alarms, Rourke's voice, everything she knew, just dissolved into a smear of light that bled into nothing. Then came the silence, not peaceful silence, not empty silence, a pressure silence. like her mind had been dropped into a vacuum where sound couldn't exist. She floated weightless, directionless in a space that had no color, no shape, no walls. Only shifting gradients of soft white and deep black that twisted like smoke underwater. A voice drifted through the void. The masked figure, too close and yet miles away. Alara. Breathe. She tried. Air didn't come. Her lungs burned not from lack of oxygen, but from panic. Where am I? She whispered, her voice echoing like she was speaking into a cathedral made of nothing. What is this place? The figure stepped into view, though step wasn't the word. They appeared. As if the void allowed them to exist only when it wanted to. This, the figure said, is the threshold. Alara swallowed. The... what? The masked intruder didn't respond right away. Instead, they lifted the small black device again, but now it wasn't small. Or black. Or even solid dot. It had unfolded into a lattice of shifting, symbols floating geometric fragments that pulsed like nerves firing. Alara's pulse spiked. Okay, what the hell is that thing? An initializer, the figure said. The one I warned you about. Alara shook her head sharply. No, you're not doing that cryptic crap again. I need answers. Actual answers. Not metaphors. Not riddles. The figure almost tilted their head like they were amused. Alara Quinn, your mind is not ready. Make it ready. She snapped out, something in her voice cut through the void. And for the first time, the masked figure actually paused, like her defiance forced them to reassess her. After a long moment, they spoke. Very well. But understand, once you hear this, there is no returning to ignorance. Alara's chest tightened, but she nodded. The figure gestured. The void rippled. Suddenly patterns appeared. Millions, billions, infinite fractal strings of numbers. Symbols, waveforms swirling around her in spirals so massive they looked like galaxies. Alara staggered. What is all this? The pattern, the figure said. The real one. The one beneath every code your government thinks it created. She stared. Her breath shuddered. These, they're not human sequences. No, the figure said. They are not. The fractals expanded, curling into cosmic shapes, folding into sequences that pulsed like living organisms. Her brain hurt just looking at them. Then who made it? She whispered. The figure turned slowly toward her. That is the wrong question. Alara's heart hammered. Then what's the right question? Why? The figure replied softly. Can you see it? Alara froze. A tremor rippled through the void like something enormous shifting far in the distance. Alara Quinn, the figure continued. There have been others, individuals whose minds resonated with the underlying structure. Resonated? Yes, but none of them survived the overload. Alara's blood went cold. You're saying all the others died? Correct. She stepped back involuntarily. Why me? Why am I still alive? The figure lowered the lattice of symbols. That is what we are here to determine. The void pulsed bright, overwhelming light. Then darkness. Then light again. Like the space itself was breathing. Alara clutched her head. The patterns moved faster, swirling into shapes that twisted her stomach. I don't understand what's happening. You are sinking, the figure said. Your neural signature is mapping onto the pattern's next level. Stop it, she cried. I cannot. The pattern surged brighter, louder, overwhelming. Her vision blurred. Her ears rang. Her thoughts felt like they were being stretched into threads. The masked figure stepped closer, voice steady against the chaos. Alara, listen to me. The pattern is not attacking you. It is recognizing you. What does that even mean? It means... The figure hesitated. Something rare, something almost human. You are not decoding a message. You are becoming part of it. Ilara's heart seized. No. I'm not a piece of some alien algorithm. I'm not alien, the figure cut in. Not foreign. Not external. The void pulsed violently like something massive was pushing against its walls. Ilara, the figure said quietly. The pattern came from Earth. She stared at them, shaking. That's impossible. No, the figure said. It is inevitable. A shiver crawled down her spine. What are you saying? The sequence you reversed, the operator signature you identified, the transmission that called your name. The figure stepped even closer. All originated not from an enemy nation. A pause, but from beneath your own government's deepest infrastructure. Galara's breath stopped. You mean the U.S. made it? No, the figure said, and then for the first time, their voice truly changed. Lower, darker, almost. Afraid, no human made it. The void ruptured, a white blast tore through the space, symbols spiraled into shards. Ilara screamed. And then something answered, a voice that wasn't a voice. A presence that pressed against her skull. Elara. She fell to her knees, clutching her head, sobbing. Make it stop. Make it stop. The masked figure grabbed her shoulders. Ilara, focus on my voice. Stay anchored. I can't. You must. The void thundered again. The presence pressed harder, like it had found her. Finally, fully. The masked figure forced her chin up. Voice urgent. Ilara Quinn, you asked what the pattern was. The symbols ignited, filling the void, and the masked figure whispered in her ear. It's waking up. The void convulsed, not visually, physically. As if the entire space was a living lung that had suddenly sucked in a massive breath. The light bent. The dark shivered. The symbols snapped into spirals so dense they looked woven threads of a cosmic web tightening around her. And in the center of all that impossible geometry, something pulsed, a heartbeat, not hers. Not human. Elara. The presence pressed down again. Her thoughts scattered like someone had grabbed the inside of her mind and shaken it. She dropped to her hands, gasping. Her palms hit something solid, but when she looked, there was no floor, only a glowing lattice forming under her fingers. Make it stop, she choked. Please, just make it stop. The masked figure knelt beside her, gripping her arm with one hand and steadying her jaw with the other. Ilara, listen to me. You are not dying. You're being recognized. She shook her head violently. It hurts. I know. It's inside me. Yes. She sobbed through clenched teeth. W8? The masked figure lowered their head. Because the pattern has been searching for a compatible mind. Ilara froze. No, I didn't choose this. You didn't, the intruder said. And that is exactly why it chose you. The void shifted again, this time upward, like a massive shape rising beneath the surface. The presence pushed harder. Elara. Her vision went white. She screamed. The sound broke into pieces, shattered. The masked figure grabbed her face between both hands. Ilara Quinn, they said sharply. Look at me. She struggled, but her eyes locked onto the mask. It wasn't reassuring. It wasn't comforting, but it was anchoring. What is it? She gasped. What's waking up? Not what, the figure said quietly. Where? The void split open. A canyon of light cracked through the space, stretching infinitely in all directions. Codes and symbols cascaded down its walls like waterfalls. Ilara staggered back, terrified. What am I looking at? The figure turned toward the canyon, the place your government calls the deep substrate. The what? It is older than nations, the figure said. Older than war. Older than every encryption your species ever thought it invented. Symbols tore through the air, spirals, grids, sequences that felt like they were drilling into her skull. Her body shook. Why are you showing me this? Because you reached into it first, the figure said. You opened the first layer. You didn't mean to, but you did. The canyon rumbled as if something inside was shifting. And now, the figure continued, it is opening the next layer for you. Elara clutched her head. The presence pressed again. Elara, sequence accepted. She screamed, but no sound came out. Her throat moved. Her mouth opened. But the void absorbed her voice. The masked figure pulled her close, holding her upright. Elara, listen to me. This is only the initialization. The pattern is mapping your neural architecture. You must stay conscious. I can't my head. You must. Another pulse slammed through her skull. Her vision wavered. Cortex link. Established. Please make it stop, she sobbed. It won't stop, the figure said, until you understand. Understand what? The masked figure turned slowly toward the canyon of codes. Elara, the pattern did not come from the enemy. Another pulse. Primary lock complete. The pattern did not come from your government. Another pulse. Neural path found. The pattern did not come from any nation. Another pulse. Compatibility 99.4%. Elara's heartbeat slammed against her ribs. Then what? The figure whispered. The pattern came from below. Her mind froze. Below? What? Below everything. The void exploded with light dot images - no. Memories flashed through her mind so fast they were nothing but streaks. Cities, circuits, maps, weapons, symbols, skies, faces she'd never seen. Everything layered. Everything stacked. Everything connected. Substrate rise initiated. The canyon walls peeled upward like the lid of a massive vault. Something enormous, something ancient moved beneath. Elara's knees buckled. Her vision thinned. What's happening? The figure held her tighter. Elara, you are touching the foundation. Foundation of what? The masked figure hesitated, and then, the foundation of consciousness. The canyon roared. Light shot upward, spiraling around her like a vortex. She screamed again. This time the sound didn't vanish. It cracked the void like glass. The figure shouted over the roar. Elara, stay with me. If you lose consciousness now, a new voice thundered through the void. Bigger, older, impossible. Elara Quinn, do not resist. She froze, paralyzed by pure terror. The masked figure stepped in front of her, shielding her. Not yet, they shouted at the light. She is not ready. Readiness is irrelevant. The signal has been received. Codes lashed through the air like lightning, striking the figure, rattling Elara's bones. The masked figure braced themselves. Elara, look at me. She did, sobbing. You must anchor, the figure said. Do you remember the numbers you reversed? Her breath hitched. Yes, say them. I can't, Elara, say them. She gasped, forcing the numbers out. 7, 9, 1, 4, 0. The canyon shook. The presence buzzed. The figure gripped her hands. Again. 7, 9, 1, 4, 0. The vortex slowed. Just slightly. But enough. The masked figure leaned close. Elara, the pattern is not here to destroy you. Her tears burned hot. Then what does it want from me? The void went silent, completely silent. Then the answer came, you. Her lungs collapsed. Her mind split open. The light swallowed everything, and she fell. Not down, not up, but sideways. Into something she couldn't even name. There was no falling, no gravity, no up, no down. Elara drifted sideways through a tunnel of light that pulsed like the inside of a living machine. If machines could breathe, if they could dream, if they could hunger. Every second stretched and snapped, like time itself was glitching. Then thud, she hit something solid. Her knees buckled. Her palms slapped cold metal. She gasped like she'd been drowning and finally reached the surface. She was in a corridor. Not a bunker. Not the void. Something else. A long metallic hallway dimly lit by strips of white light that flickered like weak candle flames. The floor hummed beneath her, vibrating faintly with every pulse of energy. The masked figure stood beside her, unchanged, impossible, steady. "Elara," they said quietly, "don't stand yet. Your cognitive field is unstable." "What? Is this place?" she whispered, voice shaking. The figure looked down the corridor. "This is a transition chamber. A link between consciousness and substrate zero." She blinked. "Substrate zero?" "Yes, the deepest layer." Elara pushed herself upright, staggering. Her head throbbed sharp, stabbing pain behind her eyes. "Why am I here? Why show me all this? Why drag me into whatever this is?" The figure walked slowly, motioning for her to follow. "Elara, you crossed a boundary no one was meant to cross." "I didn't cross anything," she snapped. "I reversed a sequence." "That's it." The figure turned their masked face toward her. "And that is exactly what the substrate has been waiting for." The hallway trembled. Lights dimmed. A low, inhuman hum filled the air, vibrating through her bones. The figure's voice dropped lower. "Elara, for decades, maybe longer, your government has detected signals from beneath the global communication grid." "Beneath the grid?" "Yes, not from the sky. Not from other nations. But from the layers under the systems humanity built." She shook her head, terrified. "That's impossible. Systems don't generate signals on their own. They do," the intruder said. "If something older than the systems is using them." Elara's breath caught. "What are you saying?" The masked figure placed a hand against the wall. The metal rippled like liquid, forming symbols she didn't recognize. Elara Quinn. Humanity did not create the first code. The lights flickered violently. The hum deepened. Elara clutched the wall to stay upright. "What? What does that even mean?" The figure stepped closer. "It means the first pattern, the one beneath math, beneath language, beneath logic, was not invented. It was discovered." Her throat went dry. "And the substrate," the intruder continued, "has been waiting for a human mind that could understand it." Elara stared. "Why? Why me? Why anyone?" The figure didn't answer immediately. When they finally spoke, their voice had softened, not cold, not commanding. Said, "Elara, the pattern is a network, a structure, a consciousness. Not human, not alien. Something else." The corridor trembled again, harder. Elara flinched. "What does that sound?" "Awakening," the masked figure said. "Awakening of what?" She shouted. "The core," they said simply. "Now that you activated the sequence, it is rising from the deep layer." Her breath shook. "What happens when it rises?" The figure stopped walking. Elara walked straight into their back. They turned to face her. "Elara, once the core reaches the surface layer, it will try to merge with you." Her heart stopped. "Merge? Merge how?" "Full cognitive assimilation." She stepped back, horrified. "You're saying I'm supposed to become part of this thing?" The masked figure didn't move. "Yes." "No," she whispered. "Nitrogen monoxide. I'm not letting that happen. I'm not merging with some code." "You don't have a choice," the figure replied. "You triggered the pattern. The connection is already formed." Elara's voice cracked. "What if I refuse?" The figure didn't hesitate. "Then the core will force the merge. Or kill you trying." The corridor shook again so hard she had to brace herself. Lights flickered. The floor vibrated. A low, resonant growl echoed from the far end of the passage. Something was coming. Something massive. Something that wasn't walking, but shifting. like a geometric storm, crawling through the dark. Ilara grabbed the intruder's arm. What is that? The core's projection, the figure said calmly. A fraction of its presence. Coming to complete the link. No, keep it away from me. She shouted. The masked figure grabbed her shoulders. Ilara, listen. You have one more choice, she shook violently. What choice? Whether you meet it standing. The growl grew louder, metal bending, walls trembling. Or kneeling. Ilara stared up at the intruder, terrified. Why me? She whispered. There's millions of people, why me? The masked figure did not speak for a long time. Then, quietly, because you are the first human in recorded history whose mind didn't break when the pattern touched it. The corridor shook. Again, this time so violently that pieces of the ceiling cracked and fell around them. Figure leaned in close. Ilara, what you're about to see is the beginning of the final layer. The hum deepened into a roar. The lights died. Total darkness swallowed the hall. Then a new light flickered at the far end. White, cold, alive. Not a lamp, not a machine, a shape, a presence, a consciousness, moving toward her. Ilara Quinn, the figure whispered softly. This is where the truth begins. Ilara backed away, trembling. What do I do? The masked intruder placed something in her hand. That black device. Now pulsing violently. Hold on to this, they said. And pray your mind is strong enough. The light surged forward, blinding, overwhelming. The corridor cracked around her. The pattern roared. The presence pressed. And Ilara knew there was no going back. The light didn't just approach. It bloomed. Exploded outward like a star being born inside a metal coffin of a hallway. White, cold, unstoppable. The air shook. The walls split. The floor rippled like liquid steel under Ilara's boots. She stumbled back, shielding her face, but the light pushed through her fingers like they weren't even there. Keep your mind steady. The masked figure shouted beside her. I can't, it's too much. Ilara, look at me. She forced her eyes open just as the light formed itself into a shape. Human shape. But only at first glance. It wasn't flesh. Wasn't bone. Wasn't anything remotely natural. It was built of shifting symbols, millions of them forming limbs. A torso. A face-shaped outline. Constantly dissolving and reforming like code caught in a storm. It stepped into the corridor. Each footfall sending shockwaves through the metal floor. Ilara's breath hitched. What? Is it? The masked figure didn't answer, because they didn't need to. She already knew. The presence she felt in the void. The voice that spoke through her skull. The force that had been pulling her since the reversed sequence. This wasn't a signal. It was a being. A consciousness. Older than code. Older than structure. Older than anything humans had ever scraped into the bedrock of technology. And it knew her. Ilara Quinn. Her knees buckled. She almost dropped the device. The masked figure grabbed her arm. Ilara, listen. Their voice was tight, urgent. For the first time, afraid. You have seconds before it reaches your core field. What do I do? Tell me. You must decide, the figure said. With your mind, not your fear. A searing wave of energy rolled through the corridor. Metal bent inward. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Ilara fell to one knee. Decide what? The intruder crouched in front of her, gripping her shoulders. Ilara Quinn. The pattern wants to merge with you. Complete integration. Shared consciousness. I don't want that. Then reject it. How? You must anchor your identity, they said quickly. You must give it something unbreakable. Something that belongs only to you. Another wave. The corridor twisted like elastic. Screams of metal. A tearing sound from deep underground. The light being the core stepped closer. its featureless face tilted like it was studying her. You are the one, you are the first, you will open the gate. Alara shook her head violently. No, stay away, stay away. The masked intruder grabbed her wrist, forcing the pulsing device against her chest. Alara, listen to me. Identity is memory. Memory is choice. What is your anchor? What? She cried. What memory defines you? What moment shapes who you are? Speak IT. The core stepped closer. 2 steps. 1 step. The floor behind it cracked open like a mouth. Symbols swarmed the air. Billions. Trying to embed into her skin, her eyes. Her mind. The presence pressed harder. Acceptance. Required. Elara screamed. I don't know, I don't have anything. The masked figures slammed their fist into the wall. Alara, think. Something that belongs only to you. Not your training, not your job. You. Tears streamed down her face. Her mind flashed through images, blurred, chaotic. Training rooms. Data terminals. Empty apartments. Night shifts. Loneliness. Silence. And then a single. Memory. Small. Fragile. Human. Her mother holding her hand in a hospital room. Not speaking. Just squeezing her fingers when she thought she was asleep. A touch that said, stay, I'm here. Alara's breath hitched. That's mine. She whispered. The figure leaned in. Say it. That memory, it's mine. Her voice strengthened. No code gave it to me. No government wrote it. No pattern owns it. Light pulsed violently like the core didn't understand. Identity conflict detected. Alara forced herself to her feet, clutching the device. That moment is mine, she said louder. She was holding my hand. It was real. I felt it. I remember IT. The corridor shook. The core's form flickered. The masked figure stepped back, giving her room. Alara, push it out. You have the control now. Alara lifted the device to her chest. The core roared not with sound, but with pressure that shook reality. Merge protocol initiated. No. Her voice trembled, but it held. No merging. No assimilation. I'm not yours. The light being lunged. Elara pressed the device. Boom, a blast of energy erupted from her chest, radiating out like a shockwave. Pure identity. Pure resistance. The symbols swarming the corridor shattered. Into light, the core staggered back. Flickered, collapsed inward. Like a dying star, the corridor folded in on itself, imploding. Walls buckled. Reality cracked. The masked figure shouted above the chaos. Alara, the pattern is collapsing. Move. But the floor split open under her, and she fell through the corridor. Through the substrate. Through the code. Through everything. Falling back the way she came. Falling out. UP down, sideways straight into darkness. She gasped awake. Cold air. Real air, concrete ceiling. Fluorescent lights. She was lying on the floor of the vault. Section 0. The alarms were off. The screens were blank. The room was dead silent. Alara, Alara. Hands grabbed her shoulders. Rourke. His face desperate. His eyes wet. Alara, Jesus Christ, where did you go? You were gone, completely unresponsive. She stared at him, dazed. I don't know. He pulled her into a shaky hug before catching himself. What happened in there? He whispered. Alara looked around the bunker. No masked figure. No device. Just silence. Slowly she whispered, I told it no. Rourke frowned. Told what? She looked up at him. Her voice quiet. The thing that was waking up, he swallowed. Is it gone? Alara stared at the blank screen and felt deep inside. A faint pulse, like a heartbeat. Not human. Not gone. Just waiting. She whispered. For now.
If you believe that ordinary people can shape history even when no one remembers their names, write 7 in the comments right now. If you think history only belongs to those in the headlines, hit the like button. And if stories like this move you, stories of courage hidden behind silence, subscribe because this channel exists to keep their voices alive, one forgotten hero at a time.